The United States has a significant military presence in the Asia-Pacific region. This presence is not a recent development. It has been a cornerstone of U.S. foreign policy for decades. The U.S. maintains a network of military bases and partnerships throughout the region. This network serves various strategic purposes. It underscores the U.S. commitment to regional security. The U.S. military presence in the Asia-Pacific is a complex and multifaceted issue. It is essential to understand the historical context, the strategic rationale, and the potential implications of this presence. The U.S. argues that its military presence is necessary to maintain peace and stability, ensure freedom of navigation, and counterbalance China's growing influence. However, this presence has also been a source of tension with China, which views it as a threat to its security and interests. The U.S. maintains that its military presence is not directed at any particular country, but is intended to promote regional stability. The U.S. also emphasizes its commitment to working with all countries in the region, including China, to address common challenges. The U.S. has long-standing security alliances with Japan and South Korea. These alliances are rooted in the aftermath of World War II. They have been instrumental in maintaining peace and stability in Northeast Asia. The U.S. military presence in Japan and South Korea serves as a deterrent against potential aggression. It also provides a platform for joint military exercises and training. The U.S.-Japan alliance is widely regarded as the cornerstone of security in the Asia-Pacific. Japan hosts a significant U.S. military presence, including the 7th Fleet, which is based in Yokosuka. The U.S. also has air bases in Japan, such as Kadena Air Base in Okinawa. The U.S.-South Korea alliance is equally important. South Korea also hosts a large contingent of U.S. troops. These troops are stationed along the demilitarized zone that separates North and South Korea. The U.S. military presence in South Korea is a legacy of the Korean War. It remains a critical deterrent against North Korean aggression. The U.S. Navy plays a crucial role in ensuring freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. This body of water is a major shipping route for global trade. The U.S. conducts regular naval patrols and exercises in the region to uphold international law. It challenges China's expansive maritime claims. China claims sovereignty over most of the South China Sea, including disputed islands, reefs, and shoals. These claims are contested by other countries in the region, including the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. The U.S. does not take a position on the sovereignty disputes, but insists on the right to freedom of navigation and overflight in the South China Sea. The U.S. Navy's presence in the South China Sea is intended to send a clear message that it will not tolerate any attempts to restrict freedom of navigation. The U.S. also conducts joint naval exercises with other countries in the region, such as the Philippines, Vietnam, and Australia. These exercises are designed to enhance interoperability and demonstrate a shared commitment to maritime security. The Philippines and Guam are home to key U.S. military facilities. These facilities provide strategic depth and logistical support for U.S. operations in the region. The U.S. has been working to strengthen its military cooperation with the Philippines in recent years. This cooperation includes increased joint exercises and the rotational deployment of U.S. troops. Guam, a U.S. territory, is often referred to as the tip of the spear of the U.S. military presence in the Pacific. It hosts Andersen Air Force Base, a major hub for U.S. bombers and other aircraft. The U.S. has been investing heavily in upgrading its military facilities in Guam. This is to ensure their resilience in the face of potential threats. The U.S. military presence in the Philippines and Guam is seen as crucial for projecting power and responding to contingencies in the Asia-Pacific. The Philippines' strategic location, situated between the South China Sea and the Pacific Ocean, makes it a valuable partner for the U.S. Guam's distance from the mainland. U.S. provides a strategic advantage in terms of early warning and response capabilities. Section 5. Australia's role. A strategic partner in the South. Australia is a close ally of the United States. It plays an increasingly important role in U.S. strategy in the Asia-Pacific. The U.S. and Australia have a long history of military cooperation. This cooperation has deepened in recent years in response to China's rise. The U.S. has been granted access to Australian military bases, including those in Darwin and Perth. These bases provide the U.S. with a strategic foothold in the southern Pacific. They enhance its ability to project power into the Indian Ocean. The U.S. and Australia also cooperate closely on intelligence sharing, cybersecurity, and maritime domain awareness. Australia's geographic location and its advanced military capabilities make it an indispensable partner for the US in the region. The two countries share common values and interests, including a commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. The US-Australia alliance is expected to play an even more prominent role in the coming years as the strategic competition between the US and China intensifies. Section 6. Taiwan, a sensitive subject. Taiwan is a self-governing island that China claims as its own. The US has a policy of strategic ambiguity towards Taiwan. Washington does not officially recognize Taiwan as an independent country. However, the US provides Taiwan with military support. This includes arms sales and military training. The US walks a fine line in its relations with Taiwan. Washington seeks to deter China from taking military action against Taiwan. However, the US also wants to avoid provoking a conflict with China. The US has been increasing its support for Taiwan in recent years. This includes sending high-level delegations to Taiwan and increasing arms sales. These moves have angered China, which views them as a violation of its One China principle. The US maintains that its actions are consistent with its long-standing policy towards Taiwan. This policy seeks to maintain peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. Section 7. China's perspective, concerns and responses. China views the US military presence in the Asia-Pacific with suspicion and concern. Beijing sees this presence as a legacy of Cold War containment policies. It believes the US is trying to encircle China and hinder its rise. China has repeatedly condemned US military activities in the region. Beijing has called for the US to withdraw its troops and bases. China has been modernizing its military at a rapid pace. It has been developing advanced weapons systems. These include anti-ship ballistic missiles and hypersonic missiles. China has also been assertive in its territorial claims in the South China Sea. Beijing has built artificial islands and militarized reefs in the disputed waters. These actions have raised tensions with neighboring countries and the United States. China's military modernization and assertiveness are seen as a direct challenge to US military dominance in the region. Section 8. The delicate balance. Managing US-China relations. The US military presence in the Asia-Pacific is a major point of contention in US-China relations. The US maintains that its military presence is not aimed at containing China. However, China views US actions as a threat to its security and interests. The US and China are engaged in a delicate balancing act. Both countries recognize the need to avoid conflict. However, they are also unwilling to compromise on their core interests. The US and China have established mechanisms for dialogue and crisis management. These include military-to-military hotlines and regular diplomatic consultations. However, these mechanisms have not always been effective in preventing misunderstandings or reducing tensions. The US-China relationship is characterized by both cooperation and competition. The two countries are major trading partners and cooperate on issues such as climate change and global health security. However, they are also strategic rivals. They compete for influence in the Asia-Pacific and beyond. Section 9. Conclusion. The future of security in the Asia-Pacific. The US military presence in the Asia-Pacific is likely to remain a significant factor in regional security for the foreseeable future. The US is committed to maintaining its military presence in the region. Washington sees this presence as essential for protecting its interests and those of its allies. However, China's rise is challenging the U.S. position in the region. Beijing is determined to become the dominant military power in the Asia-Pacific. The future of security in the Asia-Pacific will depend on the complex interplay between the United States, China, and other regional actors. It is essential for all parties to exercise restraint, manage their differences responsibly, and seek ways to cooperate on shared challenges. The stakes are high and the consequences of miscalculation could be severe. The U.S. military presence in the Asia-Pacific is a complex and evolving issue with far-reaching implications for regional and global security.